Yo guys, I'm back again with a post-launch analysis, and this time we'll be covering on Parktown Residences booking day. So stay tuned if you want to find out more. So I know you guys have been following me for a while, so if you like my video so far, do feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Alright, thanks a lot guys. So just to plug myself out here, the upcoming launch we have at One Marina Gardens that is coming in late March or early April. So if you want to find out more about this development and whether the numbers make sense, do feel free to scan the QR code because I'll be also covering on this project as well in the later videos. But for today, let's focus back on Parktown Residences. So for the launch of Parktown Residence, right, we have achieved over 87% sold out of the 1193 units available at Parktown. And we actually achieved an average PSF of 2360. So I think over here, it really shows the current market where the demand is at, and also Singaporeans, in the end, they still really love their integrated developments because so far, even at $2,300 per square feet in Tampines North area, somewhere that hasn't been matured yet, buyers are willing to already shell out this average per square feet. And of course, later on, I'll be analyzing the bottom range to the top range that people have paid so far for Parktown Residence itself. So if you're still looking to enter into Parktown, I hope this video you can take some value away, because in the end, at least you will know who are the first buyers for Parktown, right? Then today, if you are entering post-launch, you will also kind of gauge, has the developer increased in price here, or has the developer maintained the prices since day one? So today, right, I will also be covering on whether did you get in on a good price and what's considered good price. So for these UL and CLD groups, they actually talk about these 1041 units being snapped up, right? And majority of the buyers are actually Singaporeans purchasing for their own stay and investment. So for my client, they also managed to get a unit over here at Parktown. It's more for own stay also lah. Yeah, so I think the local demand over here is really very strong. And I think for a development, if there is no local demand, then I'll be more worried. But in the end, Singaporeans, they do value convenience of an integrated development of the MRT along with the shopping mall itself. So I think people are still willing to pay for the convenience. Okay, so now we're going to touch on the dropout units, right, from Parktown Residence itself on the very same weekend. So really, this is a problem, right, that I see at every new launch, because I think people FOMO, wow, the units are taking up very fast. Then in the end, they overstretch their budget. So it will result in this kind of scenario because in the end, they feel like, wow, they really overstretch their budget. Then they cannot afford the down payment with the stamp duty or even the monthly installments later on. So I think it's very important to be in the right frame of mind, to know your numbers beforehand, and not to succumb to the FOMO. So over here, we have a range from the 2 bedrooms all the way to the 4 bedrooms. So this will result in a range of 20,000 up to 40,000 plus in terms of forfeited. Those buyers looking at the new launches, be it Parktown or the upcoming ones, you really have a very clear strategy, or maybe your agent has already given you the numbers to look out for. Then I think it's more important to follow those instead of just FOMOing in, because I know for Parktown Residences, the launch day itself, it was extremely long because I think the developer also needed to verify your face on the spot with your IC. So I think there was a lot of more extra steps, and at the same time, they were understaffed as well. Overall, I do see like the balloting, they reached until 1:30 a.m. or 2 a.m. So it was really very late, and it started from 10 a.m. just to clear all the 2,000 plus checks on the same day. Now I'll be covering on the VVIP booking. So this will be happening on the Friday before the Saturday launch itself. Okay, so for the VVIP units sold, right, this is the total amount sold. Alright, so over here, the yellow color one, the yellow color box, we have the breakdown. So on the VVIP launch itself, we have 4 out of the 73 one bedroom sold. Okay, 61 out of 586 two bedroom sold, 53 out of 586 3 bedroom sold, and then we have the 4 bedroom, 7 out of 104, and then last but not least, the 5 bedroom, 1 out of 22 units being sold. I won't be covering too much into the details for the VVIP units sold, right? It's because I don't have much of the information up until the launch day on Saturday itself. It was kept quite secretive. So overall, based on the sensing I saw, right, and all the units taken up, majority of the bedrooms being sold, they were actually facing inwards towards the pool side. So over there, you already have a premium. So later on, I'll be analyzing the premium that the people paid for the pool facing versus the outward facing one. So stay tuned. So right now, I'll be starting on this segment, which is the price analysis of the best buys versus the other buys. So I think this is what most of you guys have been waiting for. So first up, we have the 2-bedroom analysis. Okay, so bear with me because it's a bit confusing. So right now, over here, we have the Parktown Residence 2-bedroom price gap analysis. We start to look at the 2-bed 1-bath first, 592 square feet. So for the outwards facing, right, you can see level 2, we have 2236 PSF at 1.32 million. So if you compare this to the inwards facing one, same size, level 2, 2407 PSF at 1.42 million. For the level 2 units, for inwards facing versus outwards facing, right, for the pool facing over outwards facing, we have 7.6% premium. Over here, look at level 12 also, right? So now when we look at level 12, 2402 PSF at 1.42 million. So you see, right, this level 12 unit, they're actually looking at almost the same price as the level 2 unit for the inwards pool facing one. So for the level 12 at the inwards facing, we have 2561 PSF at 1.51 million. So at level 12, we have up to 6.6% premium for pool facing over the outside facing. 2-bed 2-bath, 678 square feet. For level 2 units outward facing, we have 2284 PSF at 1.54 million. Okay, then we look at inward facing, right, level 2, 2408 PSF at 1.63 million. If you just compare based on level 2 itself, we have a 5.4% premium for pool facing over outwards facing. And then now we look at the level 12 units, 2426 PSF at 1.64 million over the inwards facing of level 12, 2585 PSF, 1.75 million. At level 12, we have a 6.5% premium for the pool facing over the outwards facing. Okay, so next up, we have the 2-bed 2-bath 721 square feet layout type. So outwards facing, right, you see level 2 over here, we have 2271 PSF at 1.63 million. So for the inwards facing without swimming pool facing, level 2, 2306 PSF at 1.66 million. So just based on this level 2 comparison, definitely the 1.5% premium for inwards facing over outwards facing, I think it's worth considering. Like let's say you compare to the other one, right? You see we have up to 7.6%, 5 point something percent. So over here, of course, you're not getting the pool facing, but if just for a simple 1.5% premium, I would think it's a strong contender, right, to really consider the inwards facing over the outwards facing. Because in the end, if you're facing outwards, you're gonna get like the road noise, all that. You don't mind the inwards facing. I mean, you really must see, because I know the development for certain layouts, they are facing in between the blocks and it's quite close to each other, or you're gonna be facing towards the empty gap between the level itself, because half. This one really is up to individual, but based on numbers, I would think the 1.5% premium makes sense, provided you can tahan the facing and whatever gaps they have, like for example, whether the shoppers can see your unit, etc. We look at the level 12 unit, 2439 PSF at 1.75 million. So at level 12, we're also looking at a 1.4% premium for inwards facing over outwards facing. So I think same theory applies as just now. And then if we look at the other ones, you see their level 12 also have a 6% premium. I think at the launch day itself, my client was still considering between the pool facing versus the outward facing. Based on the numbers itself, I advise my clients to go for the outwards facing one, because in the end, for the pool facing, right, the view is not going to be that fantastic, and I feel like for 6% plus 7% premium, it definitely, I feel like you are paying on the higher side just to get a certain premium. Yeah, because in the end, the blocks are like level 12, so you're not going to get very fantastic high rise and unblocked views. So I actually asked my client, which is more PSF sensitive, to go for the outwards facing one. Okay, so next up we have the 2-bed 2-bath with study at 764 square feet. So right now we are having a comparison between the inwards facing without pool versus the inwards facing with pool. So over here we have level 3 comparison. At level 3, 2287 PSF, 1.74 million. And then for the inwards facing pool, 24 23 PSF at 1.85 million. Okay, so at level 3, right, we have a 5.9% premium for the pool facing over the inwards non-pool facing. And then next up, we have level 11 at 2405 PSF, 1.83 million. Level 11 for the inwards facing with the pool, 2541 PSF at 1.94 million. So at level 11, we already have a 5.6% premium for pool facing over the inwards non-pool facing. So same thing, I will still advise you to actually go for the non-pool facing, but in the end, some people, if they really buying for own stay, they might still prefer the pool facing over the non-pool facing. So over here, you might be asking me, hey, why is it level 3 and then level 11 for the comparisons? Because I'm just basing off the launch day transacted prices. So post-launch itself, there could already be units being sold, etc. So today's focus is really just based on the launch day itself and the VVIP, of course. So over here, we have the entire 2-bedroom price gap analysis, right? Then I just want to zoom in to this particular PSF that I've highlighted in blue. So this buyer, they actually bought the lowest PSF for all the 2 bedrooms in the entire development. So congratulations to you if you managed to buy this 592 square feet unit, because you see in the end, right, usually the smaller units you should be buying at a higher PSF one. So for this buyer, 2 bed 1 bath 592 square feet, they still managed to get a much lower PSF than the entire development for the 2 bedrooms itself. And you look at the premium, right, this really shows a very big gap between the inwards facing and outwards facing. So I think in terms of value, this level 2 buyer definitely got a very strong purchase. And even at level 12, you're still looking at a 6.6% premium. Okay, so definitely I think the outwards facing buyers have a very strong entry price. So next up, we have the highest PSF, which I have highlighted here in red over here at 2585 PSF. So for this buyer, right, entering the 678 square feet unit for level 12 at 2585 PSF, I definitely feel that it's on the higher side, because you see, even for the same floor, right, we are looking at 6.5% premium over the pool side towards the outwards facing. So for this buyer, right, you see, imagine you enter at $2,500, almost 2006 PSF, right? You will actually need to exit almost at maybe 27 PSF or even 2,800 PSF. Whereas for this same buyer, right, they entered at 2236, they can easily still exit at maybe 25 in the future. But you see, $2,500 per square feet, right, has already been transacted today in the year 2025. So I think it's very different, right, if you compare to a future PSF that you still need to break records for Tampines area itself. And personally, we also don't know what will happen in the future, whether Tampines can hit $2,800 per square feet in the future. But if this buyer is looking for own stay, then I think definitely it's no longer about the numbers, because I know that there's people that really love Tampines itself. But right now, today, I'm just looking purely at numbers. Okay, so for the last part, for the 2-bed series, over here we have the 764 square feet 2-bed 2-bath plus study. And over here, why I circle this is because this represents a very big premium for a pool facing over a inwards non-pool facing. So I think both are facing inwards, and you already have a very strong selling point in terms of maybe you don't have the road noise versus the outside units. But in the end, you're still paying 5.9% for a pool premium facing over a non-pool facing. So I think really, if buyers don't mind that particular facing, maybe it has maybe West Sun or facing towards the other blocks, then I think in terms of value, right, this one really represents a very good margin. I mean, of course, my buyer wasn't looking at this particular unit type, but I think if right now you're looking at the market itself, I would advise try to go for the non-pool facing one over the pool facing because of the premium. But in the end, it really depends on whether you're buying more for investment or you're buying more for own stay. So this one really, for me right now, I'm just looking at numbers. And now for Parktown Residence current 2 bedrooms being left, honestly, you only have not much unit types to choose from. So the cheapest one, we have the 2-bed 2-bath plus study 764 square feet at unit number 12-91. 2534 PSF at 1.936 million. So you can see, actually, even if I say the previous buyers, you're paying a premium for the pool facing, you're buying outwards facing, you got noise, all this. In the end, majority of the units are being sold already. So this is the cheapest unit left. So if you manage to get a unit even below 1.9 million, I would say definitely it's still a good buy, because in the end, there is no supply left in the Tampines area anymore. Okay, so now we'll be looking at the 3-bedroom price gap analysis. So over here, let's start off with the 3-bed 2-bath. So for the 3-bed 2-bath, there's going to be quite a few layouts. I won't be talking about all of them, but in general, at least you get the sensing of what is each particular PSF and the size that you're going to pay for, okay? So for 947 square feet, we have the level 2 at 2220 PSF, 2.1 million. And then the outwards facing for the 926 square feet, level 2, 2253 PSF at 2.08 million. For level 2, in terms of the size difference, right, you only have a 1.4% premium for both outside facing. So I think why this particular 3-bedroom compact is also both outwards facing, they don't have any inwards facing one for this layout type. I think because the developer also know that for this quantum, definitely it will be 100% sold out. So if you want the inwards facing one, right, be it the pool or maybe the inwards facing but no pool one, those are the bigger unit types really. Yeah, so I think this one, the developer is very smart in doing this way, so that they can ensure the smaller 3-bedrooms will still be fully sold out, because they know the quantum is very attractive itself. Look at level 12. So 2360 PSF at 2.23 million. Then level 12 outwards facing for the 926 square feet unit, 2396 PSF at 2.21 million. So both at level 12, we have a 1.5% premium in terms of PSF for the outwards facing one. So I think definitely still quite reasonable for both sizes. There's not going to be a very huge advantage that you're going to get but over your other neighbors that bought the same layout type. Okay, so now I'll be touching on the 3-bed 3-bath 1066 feet. Alright, so for the outwards facing, right, you have level 2 at 2205 PSF, 2.35 million. And then inwards facing, we have level 2 at 2395 PSF, 2.55 million. For the level 2 units, same layout type, we have the very huge premium for the pool facing over the outwards facing units. So we are looking at 8.6% premium. So today, right, if my buyer is looking more for the exit strategy, they are worried about when to exit, right, definitely I'll recommend you to go for the outwards facing, because this 8.6% premium, you see, just for the same unit size, right, we are looking at almost a 200k price gap for the same layout type and same floor. Of course, the view is drastically different now. I mean, if you look at this whole development, right, because it's an entire rectangle, as long as, you see, they split in the middle. So as long as you either don't have west sun or you are not facing future construction, etc., right, I think you already have a huge advantage over at least half of the entire development. So these are the minor things that you already need to factor in if you are looking to exit in the future. Okay, so now we look at level 13. So level 13, you can see is at 2352 PSF, 2.5 million. And then the inwards facing one, even at a lower floor, level 12, 2519 PSF at 2.68 million. So over here for the level 12 unit, right, we already have a 7.1% premium for the pool facing over the outwards facing one. And this is also one floor lower. So definitely, I mean, if you are really looking at an exit strategy, I really think that the pool premium, the facing, right, is not the most value for money in my opinion. You're looking for own stay, then definitely this is really see how much premium you want to pay for the view, etc. Because I've seen before for integrated developments, the noise level, all this, some people might not be able to take it, and they still value the convenience, but they don't want the noise, etc. So they will still pay for the pool facing over the outwards facing. Do let me know in the comments whether you would actually pay up to even 8.6% premium for the pool facing units, or you will still go for the outwards facing units, but you'll be facing more like maybe noise, road noise, all this. So over here we have the entire 3-bedroom price gap analysis for Parktown, and then I just want to zoom in to the one that I've highlighted in blue, which is over here for the level 2 2205 PSF and this particular layout size 1066 square feet. You see, right, why I highlight in blue is because it has entered at the lowest PSF for the entire 3-bedroom layout types. And at level 12, we have 2519 PSF at 2.68 million. So this represents a very big price gap amongst the same layout types, even though you are looking outwards facing versus inwards facing. So of course, I advise my client that got a decent queue number, they actually enter very close to this $2,200 per square feet. So making their entry price one of the lowest in the entire development. So I mean, congrats to my buyer, and also whoever that bought close to this PSF, definitely I think this is a very good buy. And even the higher floor one, right, as long as they bought it, you see, they bought it close to the average price, and you compare to the same size, right, you're looking at almost a 200k gap. I think definitely you're still looking at very fantastic entry price and PSF. So congrats to the buyers. So now I'll be covering on the 3-bed 3-bath plus study. So same thing here, they have a couple of layouts, but the difference is going to be quite small. So I'm just going to be touching on this 1163 square feet for the outwards facing one, okay, and the inwards facing 1173 square feet. So for level 3, right, we have 2206 PSF at 2.56 million. And then for level 3 inwards facing, we have 2338 PSF and then 2.74 million. Over here, we have 5.9% premium for the pool facing over the outwards facing one. Why I compare both at level 9? Because the higher floors hasn't been transacted yet. So the level 9 units, 2295 PSF at 2.44 million. And then we have 2415 PSF at 2.83 million. Level 9, we are looking at 5.2% premium for pool facing over outside facing. So over here we have the 3-bed 3-bath plus study, and then I'll be just covering on particular layout types because there is a few, but the difference is really like 10 square feet, all this. So over here, outwards facing 1163 square feet, right, we have level 3 at 2206 PSF, 2.56 million. And then inwards facing 1173 square feet unit, level 3, a 2338 PSF and 2.74 million. And then we are looking at a 5.9% premium for the pool facing over the outwards facing. And then level 9, 2295 PSF. So we are looking at 2.66 million. Level 9 inwards facing 2415 PSF at 2.83 million. So over here, level 9, we have a 5.2% premium for pool facing over the outwards facing units. Alright, so next up we have the 4-bedroom types. So for 4-bedroom types, I also have done the price analysis. So over here, we look at the 4-bed 3-bath, outwards facing 1335 square feet unit, level 2, 2146 PSF at 2.86 million. So for the inwards facing 1335 square feet also, second floor, 2263 PSF at 3.02 million. So at level 2, we have a 5.4% premium for pool facing over the outwards facing one. And at level 9, at 2225 PSF at 2.97 million. Inwards facing, level 9, 2342 PSF, 3.12 million. Level 9, we have a 5.2% premium for pool facing over outwards facing. So definitely, right, if you can see, the PSF per floor jump, right, is getting lower already for the 4-bed 3-bath. And I would say if you are looking at 4 bedrooms, let's say we are looking at only the outwards facing one, right, definitely go for as high as possible, because I think the PSF jump per floor is not going to be as much as the smaller bedroom types, because you can see the drastic difference. You're only breaking 2002 for the PSF, but you see, let's say for the 3-bedroom types, we are already looking at over $2,300 per square feet, and even for the bigger ones, 2003 for the outwards facing. And for the 2-bedroom types, you see, they even have over $2,400 per square feet for the higher floors over here also. So definitely, I think for the 4-bedroom buyers, if you are looking at higher floor, I think it's more value for money. But in the end, you see the same premium also applies for the inwards facing for the pool versus the outwards facing. And now we have the bigger 4-bed 3-bath. So this is also inwards facing but no pool at 1496 square feet. So level 8, right, we have 2244 PSF at 3.35 million. The inward facing one, 1485 square feet, level 4, we have 2271 PSF at 3.37 million. Honestly, when you look at the PSF difference for the inward facing no pool versus the inward facing level 4 for a swimming pool, right, the PSF is almost quite similar lah, but the floor difference will be about 4 floors. Okay, so I can't really do a difference in terms of the premium because drastically quite different floors are. So the main thing I'll be comparing will be for level 11, 2289 PSF at 3.42 million. Level 11 for inward facing, 2374 PSF at 3.52 million. We have a 3.7% premium for pool facing over the inward facing lah. If you ask me, right, then definitely if you compare this 4-bedroom premium for the pool facing over the inward facing one, definitely go for the pool facing one because you're just paying a marginal 3.7% premium. But let's say for the other unit types, if they are looking at the pool premium versus the inwards but non-pool, right, those also, some of them even at the 5% range already. So I think this one is the more value for money when you compare in this sense. Okay, so now we look at the Parktown Residence current 4 bedrooms left. 1335 square feet, 0240 2157 PSF at 2.879 million. So when we compare like this, I definitely still think for an integrated development in an upcoming town at $2,100 per square feet is still quite a good buy because in the end, the market right now doesn't have much integrated development at this quantum for the 4-bedders. If you would like to take a look at the show flare for the post-launch, do feel free to contact me via WhatsApp because I think this is still considered a good buy, and if your numbers make sense, definitely you should still consider looking around lah. We have the 4-bed premium, 1496 square feet, 0241 2198 PSF at 3.288 million. So of course this one is slightly bigger, and at this PSF is still relatively attractive also for a integrated development. Of course the quantum is on the higher side because I know certain areas you can get a 3.2 million, you still can get a 5-bedroom. Yeah, so I think this one really you need to compare whether you can accept another location's 5-bedroom. But over here, this is an integrated development, so it's slightly different lah. Okay, so now I'll be touching on how I actually prepared the booking day for Parktown Residences for my clients. So over here, this is something I've done on my own. So I took the site plan for Parktown itself, right? You see like all the layout types for the 3-bedroom premium. And then at the same time, I also have already taken into account for the future developments that is already zoned as residential, zone for school, zone for HDB. And then I also rank all the facings based on what I feel the developer should be pricing at. Okay, and of course I also circle all the 3-bedroom premium in this particular site plan. I think this will definitely help us a lot based on the booking day itself, because I know that for a mega development, if you are not prepared with all these like rankings and all the circling of the layouts beforehand, right, it's going to be very, very confusing, especially when you want to compare. I also compare with the other slightly smaller and slightly bigger layout types. And on top of that, I also have compiled all the layouts together, so for easy comparison, because sometimes you see here you got 1066, 1066, then you got the 1076. So you want to know what is the difference and where is the difference at. You know, is it gonna be at the balcony? Is it gonna be at the foyer or the living room, the kitchen? And then you see the different layout types. And for the 3-bedroom premium, there is even a 1055 square feet. Of course, this is the smallest one, and the difference is gonna be at the balcony versus the 1076 square feet 3-bedroom premium types. So over here, this is also what I've prepared for my client beforehand, right? So we are looking at Sengkang Grand Residences. Why I chose this particular development is because it's quite relevant to Parktown Residences. It's in the OCR region. We have a shopping mall and we have an MRT. Just that it is not an integrated development like Parktown, but I'm quite sure we can have certain takeaways that is going to be valuable for Parktown itself. So for my clients, they also already know that the smaller 3-bedroom types are usually in the lower profits, because you see Sengkang Grand itself, over here majority of the lower profits we have is in the 3-bedroom compact, which is 936 square feet units. Of course, we only have 1012 square feet layout type that is in the lower profit range. Okay, so over here majority of them are in the 200k range, and majority of them are the smaller unit types. So now, if we look at Sengkang Grand's highest profits, right, you can see easily most of them are the bigger units already. and we are looking at 1012 square feet, 1023, 1033, 1055, and a smaller portion of them are in the smaller bedroom types. So it was very clear that if my client was looking at an exit strategy in Parktown Residences, I'll recommend them to go for the slightly bigger 3-bedroom layout types. So over here, we can see I did a comparison also on the different layout types. So for this particular stack 23, unit is 1223, 936 square feet. They entered in July of 2021 at 1.6 million, 1720 PSF. They sold in September 2024 at 1.86 million, 1995 PSF. And this is outwards facing. We have a small premium, right, for the inwards facing, even though less than 20 meters away. I'm talking about this particular 20 meters because you see, the next comparison I'm looking at is stack 47. So you can see, stack 47, they bought also in 2021 at 1.79 million, 1769 PSF. And then they exit in January of 2025 at 2.24 million at 2219 PSF. So you see, it's really very close to the other block, but you see, right, the premium, this one is 1769 PSF, and then this one we are looking at 1720 PSF. So really, in terms of PSF, there is not much difference one, but of course the entry price we are looking at almost 180k difference. But in terms of exit, right, we see the profit difference we are looking at of more than 200,000 profit when you compare between these two particular layout types. So over here, I think this is really very powerful because from this simple comparison, right, it is very clear to my client if today they have the budget, you see, they pay a little bit more for a bigger layout type, right, they are still able to profit at least 200,000 more simply because it's a more desirable layout in the resale market. So even if you are paying a higher PSF, you can still get a much better return on your investment. And the second thing is, right now, we already know what is the premium, right, that the resale market is willing to pay for a smaller layout type. You see, it's still facing toward the school, and versus the inward facing, even though the block is very near, how much are people still willing to pay for the inwards facing? So that's why it's really important to know in the resale market what is going on, and also even if the blocks are very close to each other, as long as the premium from the outwards facing and the inwards facing is not that far, I still think you should consider the inwards facing one lah. Yeah, so in the end, this one really give my client and myself a lot of confidence to enter a particular facing and a unit type at what PSF. And you can see for the 936 square feet one, even though they have two balconies, we also look at the difference for the 1012 square feet. To be honest, both are inefficient layouts because in the end you have two balconies. I don't think most families need two balconies. Even though you're paying more for the bigger kitchen over here, bigger kitchen, and then you got a storeroom over here, and on top of that you still have a small WC lah. Yeah, I think this is definitely a lot more desirable in the resale market based on my experience and my research. So definitely, this is how I advise my client lah. So over here we have the second example. So you can see, right, this particular stack, stack 59, 0659, 1012 square feet. They bought in September 2021 at 1.795 million at 1775 PSF. And then they sold at April of 2024 at 2 million at 2024 PSF. And you can see this particular facing over here. And now, if we look at the other layout type of stack 47, 0847, 1012 square feet. So this is exact same layout types really. And they bought in July 2021, 1.79 million at 1769 PSF. And they exit in January 2025 at 2.24 million, 2219 PSF. You see, this particular facings, right, the premium is really almost the same. But this will also help my buyer. If today you are facing a particular layout type and the facing is your main differentiating factor, right? You need to see if you are facing towards inwards, even though it's the pool facing, but maybe the other block is very near, or you want to be facing towards this particular even though the block facing is quite far, but you have this particular gap inside the shopping mall there. So I think this is quite relevant to the Parktown example that we have. And if both PSF is relatively the same, then you already know which one is more value for money and which one is more desirable in the resale market. Yeah, so I think, you see, just now I mentioned that, yes, even though the gap is quite close, right, you need to see whether you are buying for own stay or for exit itself. Yeah, so really this will help my buyer. So actually my buyer, they had that same exact question. Hey, Simric, should I actually buy the inward facing non-pool one, or should I buy the outwards facing one? Or should I buy the inwards facing one with the pool facing? I took up this example, right, to show what is the differences that they say between the shopping mall facing, which is the open area, or you should buy an inwards facing one. So of course in this scenario, the price premium for both inwards facing was quite similar. So that's why the exit for the better facing one was much better. But for Parktown itself, right, they have a very huge premium for the pool facing over the inwards non-pool facing one. So I think definitely if you calculate here is around 2000 PSF and then here is 2002 so this will represent about 10% premium in terms of what the resale market is willing to pay. So I would say if you are entering less than 10% premium, because this is already reflected in the resale market, this can also help you measure what kind of premium you should be paying if you are buying a inwards facing but a non-pool facing versus a inwards facing with a pool facing. So this will help you do a lot of the comparisons already. And also we have a less than 3 years holding period. It also is able to earn as much as the smaller layout types, which is the 936 square feet. So even though you can see it definitely earn a lot less than this 0847 unit, but it's still able to profit as much as the 936 square feet unit types. So the next big question is that, should I buy a school facing unit or not? Because Parktown Residences, definitely we have a zone plot of land that is ready for education. So it's very important to know whether if you're buying facing the school, right, is it going to perform well in the resale market? So over here, I've taken both same layout types, 936 square feet, and we are looking at Stack 23, which is facing Palmview Primary School, and then we have Stack 15, which is facing outwards. Over here, May of 2021 at 1.577 million, 1685 PSF, and then we exit at October 2024, 1.8 million at 1964 PSF. So for the Stack 15, 936 square feet, we enter at March 2021, 1.55 million, 1661 PSF, and then we exit June of 2024, 1.9 million at 2038 PSF. So over here, Stack 23, we are looking at school facing, Stack 15 condo facing, because opposite there's another condo So we entered at similar PSF, right? But the non-school facing exited 4 months earlier at 70k more profits So you can see, right, for this particular 0815, even though they buy earlier, they still can exit in June of 2024. Whereas for this 0823, right, they bought 2 months later and they exited 4 months later, right? They were still getting a lower PSF as compared to this 0815, even though they are at the exact same layout types. So just with this simple example, right, if really you are in a situation where, let's say Parktown, you know you have a facing between the school one, or you're facing towards the other HDB or the future EC, condo, etc., right? Which one should you go for, and what particular PSF you should go for? So you can see just from this simple exercise, my buyer already knows that, oh, if I want to sell next time, I shouldn't be going for the one facing the school, because I know that next time in the future, it's probably going to be harder to exit. Or even if you can exit, right, you're going to be making lesser than the particular facing that is facing outwards, that is non-school facing. So all these questions, you already have the answers that can be prepared beforehand. So this is what I always do for my clients, to prepare them prior to the balloting day. Over here, I think it's very simple. Of course, you will choose a non-school facing over the school facing, and both are facing outwards. So this is just an orientation for Sengkang Grand Mall. So just now the example I was referring to will be facing towards the roadside over here, and then the other stack will be facing towards the school this side. Yeah, so I hope you have found some valuable insights to the video today that I've done. Alright, so we have come to the end of the video. So if you really like what I have shared so far, my content that I've done, please leave a like and subscribe because this will greatly help my channel and also reach out to people that will be finding this information useful as well. And if you're interested in any of the upcoming launches at One Marina Gardens or even at Bloomsbury, do feel free to scan the QR code or you can reach out to me via WhatsApp. Alright, hope to hear from you soon. Bye!